If you just tuned in, you're listening to Guerrilla Radio. I'm speaking today to Radhika Desai. She is a professor at the Department of Political Studies and director of the Geopolitical Economy Research Group at the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg. She recently started her third term as president of the Society for Socialist Studies. She's the author of Geopolitical Economy After U.S. Hegemony, Globalization and Empire, and in which she proposes a new approach to understanding world affairs in the capitalist era. That is in part, Radhika, taken from your biography at the greenleft.ca website, the new website. The 16th of July, this party was birthed into the world. Now, tell us, Radhika, what's this about? Who is the Green Left Canada?
The first thing I need to say is that you have made a very important mistake. Green Left is not a political party. So let me say that for the record. It's not a political party. However, it is a political movement, and it's a very important political movement. That's why I have slaved over it, and I have contributed an enormous amount of time to it. So let me explain to you exactly what it is. So if you will remember, last year, Dimitri Lascaris ran for the leadership of the Green Party. And in the course of that, of course, he came second. Unfortunately, he did not come first. And there's a whole bunch of other tales that hang there. But basically, we were, of course, disappointed. But right after the election, we decided that, look, we have so much to offer. We have an amazing platform. We have encouraged so many people, like essentially Dimitri's candidacy for the Green Party leadership enthused people across the political spectrum. People who had never been Greens in their life joined the Green Party because they felt that if Dimitri could make the Green Party a proper eco-socialist party, as he promised to do and as he would have done if he had been elected, then this was fantastic. So essentially what his candidature revealed was a large constituency for eco-socialism. And to me, both of the points are important. We cannot live without a planet that is healthy, and we need to have a socialist economy in which everybody gets, at least to begin with, equitable and then eventually equal shares of what is produced, and they contribute equitably and eventually equally. So the point is that in this context, for us, so what we have created is a movement. Now, we are independent of any party, but we will encourage, for example, those causes and even candidates who we feel support our cause. So, and that would be across parties. Now, naturally, given our position, the relevant parties are the Green Party, the NDP, and perhaps some particularly progressive members of the Liberal Party, although at the moment I find it hard to imagine anybody. So that's who we are. We are not a political party.
So is this an abandonment of the political process or an end run around politics as a way of fomenting a social change in this country from another angle?
Well, it's basically, essentially what we did is, since we failed to take over the leadership of the Green Party, we have decided that we are going to pursue the same principles, the same cause in a wider way, because ultimately what was our purpose in making Dimitri the leader of the Green Party and putting an eco-socialist platform behind him? It was to change the political discourse in Canada. It was to change Canadian politics. It was to make eco-socialism a real presence in Canadian politics. That is the purpose we are now trying to pursue in this fashion, which I have just described.
Okay, and so eco-socialism, for those that this is an unknown or new term, is defined on the website, greenleft.ca, as, quote, the ecological crisis is grounded in the inherent contradictions and irrationality of unfettered neoliberal corporate capitalism. The solutions lie in eco-socialist alternatives, which can reverse the current destructive trajectory and deliver a just and green prosperity. How are we going to do that then?
Well, we have a very elaborate platform. So our platform, first of all, envisages an overall control over the economy, which is in the interest of ordinary people, not in the interest of big capitalist corporations. We do not necessarily, however, prescribe that we are going to somehow nationalize everything yesterday. What we are saying is that we are going to do whatever is necessary at any given point in a given conjuncture. So we will first, for instance, we have a number. Our platform is soon going to be on the website. We are rolling out very slowly. So the platform documents, we don't want to put them up until we have proper English and French versions. So we are they will soon be, the first platform documents will soon appear, and among them will be the ecological and the economic platform that are very closely related. But our position is that there will be a big role for public owner, or rather social ownership of various sorts. That can include cooperatives, that can include public ownership, etc. And then we also have a conception of public ownership which involves stakeholders, not just, in the interest of, say, just workers or whatever, just everybody, including indigenous people, including other stakeholders such as workers, customers, etc., including the environment, etc., etc. So we have a broad and very fairly detailed plan. Of course, it's not written in stone. We will be revising it as we go along in the light of new facts, etc. But we have an economic plan that involves regulation, reduction of inequality, redistribution of work and its rewards, a stop to the financialization of the economy, public utility banking, etc. And then we have an ecological platform that involves, the way we see it, of course, climate change is a very big thing, but climate change is one of the 3 or 4 main elements of the ecological emergency, which includes loss of biodiversity. It includes also pollution. So you put all these things together, and we have a plan to tackle climate change, to ensure that we make a just energy transition. We have a plan to tackle pollution. We have a plan to tackle loss of biodiversity, etc. So that's what we are about. The definition of eco-socialism that you quoted is very important, because what it does is, you see, the dominant ecological discourse says that the problem is human beings. And our point is, no, the problem is not human beings. The problem is the way in which our societies are organized, which is on the basis of this extremely senile, unproductive, speculative, plundering type of capitalism.
You've got, I'm looking at the core principles. There's 8 core principles listed for, not the party, but the greenleft.ca. One of those is urgency. I wonder, now we've got an election that rumored to happen anytime between now and November. How practically can Green Left Canada influence the parties that are running? I'm assuming that you're not going to be running candidates. You're not a party.
Correct.
How can you, in a practical sense, influence those that are ostensibly have their hands on the levers of power in this country? How in this urgent situation that we find ourselves, how do we practically do that?
Well, this is still something we have to discuss amongst ourselves. So I'm not going to make a definitive statement, but among the possibilities that we have already canvassed, exactly what we decide to do is a collective decision. So I cannot speak as yet, but I would say that it would include, for example, criticizing the policies of existing parties, supporting those candidates who support our policies, etc.
Well, in our party system, though, I mean, if somebody, the Liberals, as it stands right now, if they retain power after the next election, and whenever that is, October probably, how would you effectively say, okay, well, Liberal Party member, our people that are with the Green Left will support your candidacy and your riding if you promise a willingness to speak truth to power when it comes to dealing with the United States foreign policy or right. Whatever the issue is.
It's not going to be as superficial as that. And it's quite possible that, if we don't get, very substantial buy-in into our policies, we may not support any candidates. I mean, this all has to be decided. I mean, as I say, I cannot speak because no decisions have yet been made. We are a fledgling organization. We are just coming into being, and we will be making the appropriate decisions as and when the election comes along. I agree with you that it's very likely that there will be an election, and it is also possible that while urgencies are definitely one of our goals, we may not it may not mean that we have an effect on this election. And then if there is whatever government is elected, I think that what we will continue to do is we will continue to give eco-socialists, like you said, for you who are already a very well-informed journalist, the term eco-socialism was still relatively new. Well, we want the term to be known widely. We want the term to be, and we want our platform and our policies to be known widely so that people can begin to think about what is wrong with our system. The COVID pandemic has already revealed the ugly underbelly of our society, the inequality, the extremely, shall we say, unproductive character of our economy, etc., the financialization, everything. It has revealed that. And it has also revealed the incompetence of our governments, where in Western countries we have, we have been unable to deal with the pandemic adequately. In addition to that, already before the pandemic, you had the school strikes against climate change, etc. Young people were telling the oldies that, look, you folks don't understand the urgency of this. So we were already in a gathering crisis, and then the pandemic precipitated it. So now we have just launched, and we feel that what our message, what we have to say, is going to resonate very widely in society, because people are aware. Every day when you open the paper, there is some new scheme for building back better and all these good things. Well, this comes from the fact that people realize that there's something broke in our society, and we got to fix it. And that is the opening we want to stretch open wider, and we want to bring in eco-socialist ideas to say this is the solution to the problems we face.
Well, and, Canadians of a certain vintage, and the oldies, as you call us, but we remember a time when the streets weren't filled with homeless people. And now that has become a normative. To see people that, living in staircases, and that is not unusual. It is a growing, one of the fastest growing populations in the country. Eco-socialism isn't unique to Canada, of course. It's happening in other jurisdictions far and wide. It's a coming thing. It says on your website, eco-socialism or barbarism. Take your pick. How, in the last minute we have, Radhika, can Canadians take their pick? How can they get involved with Green Left Canada, greenleft.ca, to join this effort?
On the website, there is a button where you can click, and you can essentially indicate your interest. We will soon be making new members, but you can already indicate your interest, and we already have hundreds of people indicating their interest in the first few days since we launched the website. And by the way, this is not surprising to me, because it is totally consonant with the amount of enthusiasm that Dimitri's campaign had generated. So I would say go to our website, explore it, click and fill in your details. We are receiving all your information, and we are responding very soon. So and very soon we will be able to take members, and we will essentially create essentially the members will get to eventually, sometime very soon over the next few months, get to elect their own executive, etc., etc. So join us, be part of this. This is the, shall we say, the front of change for Canada. If you want Canadian politics to be better on the environmental front, on the economic front, on the indigenous front, on the workers' rights front, on the foreign policy front, very important, because this has been very much in the news, and any other front you care to think about, you want to contribute, you want to have your say, join us. We want you. That's what our message is to you.
Well, I certainly agree that Dimitri's campaign for the leadership of the Green Party was the most exciting political moment, and what's happened to the Greens since, of course, is in all the papers as well. Radhika Desai, thanks a lot for coming on the show and talking a little bit about this. Remember, everyone, greenleft.ca to find out more. Thanks again for coming on, Radhika, and I want everybody else to stick around, because Terry Wolfwood's going to come up straight after the break. Thanks, Radhika.
Thank you, Chris.